The galaxy believed Earth was small. It was a quiet blue world on the edge of mapped space. Its ships were average. Its weapons were nothing special. Its fleets were limited. Many alien empires saw humans as young and inexperienced. Some even called them harmless. The Xerex Empire did not believe in harmless species. The Xerex ruled over 300 star systems. Their fleets were massive. Their warships were black and shaped like blades. Wherever they went, planets either surrendered, or burned. One morning, every screen on Earth changed at the same time. A giant symbol appeared in the sky. It was projected from orbit. A sharp silver crest with burning red lines. The mark of the Xerex Empire. People stopped in the streets. Cars slowed. Children stared upward. Satellites picked up hundreds of enemy ships forming a wall above Earth's atmosphere. Then the message came. The Xerex Emperor appeared on every device across the planet. His face was tall and cold. His eyes glowed like dying stars. "People of Earth," he said, his voice deep and heavy. "You now stand before the will of the Xerex Empire." Silence spread across cities. You will surrender your military forces. You will offer tribute. You will kneel, and you will be protected. There was a pause. If you refuse, your skies will burn. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, other species watched the live broadcast. News networks replayed it again and again. Many believed Earth would surrender within hours. Some leaders even made private bets about how long humans would last. But something strange happened. Earth did not answer. No emergency broadcast. No surrender message. No panic response from world leaders. Instead, small human defense ships quietly moved into formation. Old cruisers. Modest carriers. Nothing impressive. The Xerex fleet began descending. Their admiral, Corthan Vex, stood inside his command chamber and studied Earth's movements. He expected fear. He expected chaos. Instead, he saw calm patterns. Human ships were not rushing. They were not scattering. They were positioning. Primitive courage, one Xerex officer laughed. The admiral did not laugh. "Fire a warning shot," he ordered. A single Xerex battleship released a beam of red light. It sliced through one of Earth's orbital stations. The station exploded into silent pieces. Still. Earth did not surrender. Human ships opened fire. The battle began. It was uneven from the start. Xerex weapons were stronger. Their shields were thicker. Human ships fought bravely, but one by one, they were destroyed or forced to retreat. Within 2 hours, most of Earth's outer defenses were gone. Across the galaxy, commentators declared the outcome obvious. "The Xerex Empire wins again," they said. Admiral Vex prepared to deliver the final strike order. Then his sensor officer froze. "Admiral, we are detecting a signal." "From where?" Vex asked. The officer adjusted the display. His claws trembled slightly. "Beyond Neptune. Extreme range. Massive energy output." Vex narrowed his eyes. "There are no human stations that far out." The signal pulsed again. Stronger this time. It was not small. It was not civilian. It was enormous. Something was moving toward them. Slow. Powerful. Deliberate. Xerex long-range scanners tried to measure its size. The readings glitched. "Impossible," another officer whispered. "The mass reading must be wrong." Vex stepped closer to the main screen. A shadow began to appear against the distant stars. At first, it looked like a mistake in the image. Then it grew clearer. A structure. No. A ship. Bigger than anything the Xerx had ever recorded from Earth. The Admiral felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. Full scan, he ordered quietly. The final measurement appeared on the screen. Silence filled the Xerx bridge. Admiral, the sensor officer said slowly, that is not a defense station. The massive object continued moving forward, engines glowing faint blue in the darkness. It's a warship. And it was coming straight for them. The massive object moved slowly through the darkness beyond Neptune. It did not rush. It did not panic. It advanced like it had all the time in the universe. On the Xerx flagship, Admiral Vex stared at the growing shape on the screen. The numbers kept updating, and each update made the bridge quieter. Length, 20 kilometers. Hull density, extreme. Energy output, far beyond standard human reactors. This is impossible, one officer whispered. Humans do not build ships like this. They do now, Vex replied. The unknown warship crossed into clearer range. Its surface was not smooth like Xerx ships. It was layered. Armored plates overlapped like scales. Long runways stretched across its sides. Massive rail cannons lined its spine. Blue engine cores burned bright, but steady. It was not just a ship. It was a moving fortress. A signal burst from the giant vessel. This time, it was human. This is the HSS Resolute, a calm voice said across every channel. You are inside restricted Sol defense territory. Withdraw immediately. Across the galaxy, watchers fell silent. Analysts replayed the message again and again. HSS Resolute. No one had heard that name before. On Earth, deep inside a hidden command bunker, human leaders stood together. They had been waiting for this moment for decades. 40 years earlier, when the Xerx first expanded near human borders, Earth had made a quiet decision. They could not outnumber the galaxy. They could not outgun every empire. But they could build one thing no one expected. A supercarrier. Built in secret beyond Neptune's orbit. Hidden by false asteroid fields and signal-masking satellites. Funded by every major nation in silence. Designed not for parade, but for survival. Now, it had arrived. Admiral Vex felt anger rising in his chest. One ship does not change fate, he said. Prepare all weapons. Destroy it. Hundreds of Xerx warships turned their cannons toward the supercarrier. Red targeting lights filled space. The Resolute did not move. Instead, small openings along its hull began to glow. Vex narrowed his eyes. What is that? Then space around the carrier shifted. Thousands of fighter craft launched at once. Not dozens. Not hundreds. Thousands. They poured out like a storm of metal and light. Small, fast, perfectly organized. Each one moved with sharp precision. Automated squadrons detected, a Xerx officer shouted. The fighters did not fly randomly. They formed attack patterns instantly. Swarms split into groups and accelerated toward key Xerx ships. The first explosion came seconds later. A Xerx cruiser vanished in a bright flash. Its shields had not even reacted in time. That was not a missile, the sensor officer said in shock. That was kinetic impact. Human fighters were using high-speed rail strikes. No warning beams. No energy charge time. Just instant destruction. The Xerx fleet returned fire. Red beams cut through space. Several human fighters were destroyed. But for every one lost, 3 Xerx ships were disabled. Then the Resolute itself fired. A long cannon along its spine glowed white. A focused beam shot forward. It struck a Xerx battleship directly in the center. There was no explosion. The battleship simply split in half. Clean. Precise. Final. Across the galaxy, fear began to spread. Humans had never shown weapons like this before. They had acted weaker than they were. On the Xerex bridge, alarms screamed. "Admiral, we are losing formation. Shields failing on multiple carriers." Vex clenched his fists. "Concentrate fire on the carrier," he roared. Hundreds of Xerex ships unleashed full power. This time, the Resolute raised its shields. A massive blue barrier expanded around it. Energy blast struck the shield and spread across its surface like waves in water. The shield held. But cracks of light flickered along its edges. The carrier could not take unlimited hits. Inside the Resolute, the human captain watched the battle calmly. "Phase 2, she ordered. Deep inside the supercarrier, something large began to power up. Much larger than its main cannon. Back on the Xerex flagship, Admiral Vex felt unease growing stronger. "Energy spike detected," his officer whispered. "Source, center mass of the carrier." Vex stared at the reading. It was far stronger than the last shot. Far stronger than anything humans should possess. The massive cannon inside the Resolute reached full charge. And then, space itself began to bend. Space bent like glass under pressure. At the center of the HSS Resolute, a sphere of white light formed. It did not look like fire. It looked controlled. Calm. Dangerous. On the Xerex flagship, warning alarms screamed louder than before. "Admiral, gravitational distortion increasing." "How is that possible?" another officer shouted. "That technology belongs only to first-core civilizations." Admiral Vex did not answer. He only watched. The white sphere collapsed inward for 1 second. Then it exploded forward. A wave of compressed gravity ripped through the center of the Xerex formation. It did not burn ships. It crushed them. 3 cruisers folded in half like paper. 2 destroyers shattered without explosion. Even a heavy battleship twisted and broke apart as its own mass turned against it. The shockwave ended as quickly as it began. Silence filled space. Across hundreds of star systems, broadcasts froze on that image. Xerex ships, once feared across the galaxy, drifting as broken metal. The Empire had never looked weak before. Until now. On Earth, cities watched in stunned silence. People who had feared destruction only hours ago now saw something else. Hope. But the battle was not over. "Reform the line," Admiral Vex shouted. "All remaining ships, surround the carrier." The Xerex were not cowards. They had ruled for centuries through war. They still outnumbered the single human supercarrier. Dozens of ships regrouped and attacked from every direction. This time, they aimed not at the shields, but at the fighter bays. They had learned quickly. Energy beams struck the Resolute's surface. Armor plates glowed under the heat. One launch bay exploded, sending fragments spinning into space. Inside the carrier, damage reports filled the command room. Bay 3 destroyed. Shield capacity down to 60%. Fighter losses increasing. The human captain remained calm. "Hold position," she said. Outside, human fighters changed tactics. Instead of direct attack, they began targeting engines. They cut off escape routes. They broke formations. They fought with precision, not rage. On the Xerex flagship, fear finally touched the crew. "Admiral, our flanks are collapsing." "Retreat is possible," one officer said carefully. "We can regroup beyond Jupiter." Vex's eyes burned with pride. The Empire does not retreat from a minor species. Then a new signal entered the system. Larger than the rest. Stronger than the rest. The Emperor's personal flagship had arrived. It emerged from warp like a dark star. Its hull was gold and black. Its weapon cores glowed crimson. The Imperial Wrath. Across the galaxy, every network began streaming the same headline. The Emperor enters the war. The Wrath fired immediately. A beam thicker than any before struck the Resolute's shield. This time, the shield cracked. Blue light shattered outward. Shockwaves pushed nearby fighters away. Inside the supercarrier, lights flickered. Shields at 30%. Multiple systems failing. For the first time, the human captain tightened her jaw. The Emperor's voice suddenly filled all channels. "Humans," he said calmly, "you built a hidden blade. Impressive." His tone turned colder. "But blades break." The Imperial Wrath began charging its main cannon again. This weapon was different. It was designed to destroy capital ships in one strike. On Earth, millions held their breath. Inside the Resolute, engineers rushed to stabilize power grids. Damage control teams sealed burning corridors. Pilots returned for rearmament as fast as possible. The human captain looked at the tactical map. They could not win a direct exchange. But they had prepared for this possibility. "Initiate Shadow Protocol," she ordered quietly. Deep within the carrier, a hidden system activated. Not a weapon. Not a shield. Something else. Outside, the Imperial Wrath fired. The beam tore through space and struck the Resolute directly. For a second, it seemed over. The carrier vanished inside red light. On the Xerex bridge, cheers began to rise. Then stopped. Because when the light faded, the Resolute was gone. Completely gone. Admiral Vex stared at empty space. "Where did it go?" he whispered. Behind the Imperial Wrath, space rippled. And the HSS Resolute reappeared. The HSS Resolute reappeared directly behind the Imperial Wrath. For 1 second, no one moved. The Xerex flagship was the most powerful warship ever built by the Empire. Its armor was layered with star-forged alloys. Its shields could withstand planetary bombardment. It had destroyed entire civilizations. And now, the human supercarrier floated less than 10 kilometers behind it. Inside the Imperial Wrath, alarms exploded across the bridge. Spatial jump detected at close range. Impossible distance, an officer shouted. No ship that size can microwarp. The Emperor stood from his throne slowly. His tall frame cast a long shadow across the control floor. "So," he said quietly, "the insects have learned new tricks." On the Resolute, the human captain gave calm orders. "Target primary engines. Disable, do not destroy." Human fighters swarmed around the Imperial Wrath like metal birds. They moved fast, striking shield nodes with precise kinetic rounds. Not random attacks. Calculated hits. The Emperor's ship rotated, trying to bring its heavy cannons to bear. "Fire rear batteries," he commanded. Massive energy beams erupted backward. Several human fighters vanished in bright flashes. But they did not scatter in fear. They adjusted. They adapted. Then the Resolute fired its main cannon again, not at the center of the ship, but at the engine cluster. The beam struck with surgical precision. The Imperial Wrath's engines exploded in controlled bursts. Not total destruction, but enough. The golden flagship slowed. Power levels dropped. On the Xerex bridge, officers looked at their Emperor with silent fear. Primary propulsion offline. Shield integrity falling. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "All fleets, protect the flagship," he roared. But the remaining Xerex ships were already overwhelmed. Human fighters blocked their path. Rail cannons from the Resolute kept them at distance. The battlefield had changed. For the first time in centuries, the Xerex Empire was reacting, not controlling. The Emperor turned to his communications officer. "Open a direct channel to the human commander." Moments later, the human captain's image appeared before him. She did not bow. She did not look afraid. She simply watched. "You hide strength behind weakness," the Emperor said. "You deceive the galaxy." "We prepared," she replied calmly. "There is a difference. You could have joined the Empire. Shared our power." The captain shook her head slightly. "You mistake control for peace." Silence filled both bridges. "You are outmatched," the Emperor finally said. "Finish it. Destroy my ship." The human captain paused. She looked at the tactical display. She looked at Earth, far in the distance. Then she made her decision. "Negative," she said. "Target weapon systems only." The Resolute adjusted aim. One by one, precision shots disabled the Imperial Wrath's cannons. Energy cores shut down. Targeting arrays exploded. Within minutes, the Emperor's flagship drifted in silence. Alive. But powerless. Across the galaxy, billions watched the image of the once unstoppable ship floating without weapons. The symbol of fear had fallen. On the Emperor's bridge, officers lowered their heads. The Emperor remained standing. "You choose mercy," he said quietly through the open channel. "We choose a message," the human captain replied. At that moment, every remaining Xerex ship began retreat calculations. Admiral Vex watched the battlefield with disbelief. "Orders, my Emperor." The Emperor looked one last time at the human supercarrier. "Retreat," he said softly. The word echoed across every Xerex vessel. Warp drives ignited across the battlefield. One by one, the ships of the Empire disappeared into hyperspace. The Imperial Wrath was the last to leave, towed by emergency support craft. When the final enemy signature vanished, silence returned to the solar system. The HSS Resolute remained in orbit above Earth. Damaged. Scarred. But standing. Inside the carrier, crews finally allowed themselves to breathe. They had not destroyed an empire. They had done something greater. They had proven Earth was not prey. Far beyond Sol, in hundreds of systems, one truth spread faster than any fleet. Humans were never weak. They were patient. And the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The war lasted less than a single Earth day. 19 hours from the first warning shot to the final Xerex retreat. But in those 19 hours, the balance of power in the galaxy changed forever. The HSS Resolute remained in high orbit above Earth. Repair drones moved across its damaged hull like small sparks of light. Sections of armor were cracked. One fighter bay was gone. Several decks were sealed. It had taken hits. But it had survived. On Earth, cities slowly returned to movement. People stepped outside again. Screens replayed the battle from every angle. Children watched the moment the Imperial Wrath lost power again and again. For the first time, fear was replaced by pride. Inside the United Earth Command bunker, leaders from every nation stood together. There were no arguments now. No borders. Only one clear reality. They had revealed their greatest secret. There was no hiding anymore. Across the galaxy, emergency meetings were called. Trade unions. Defense councils. Minor empires. Everyone had the same question. How long had humans been planning this? Some species felt relief. The Xerex Empire had ruled through intimidation for centuries. Entire systems had paid tribute just to avoid invasion. Others felt nervous. If humans could build one supercarrier in secret, what else were they hiding? Inside the Resolute, the human captain prepared a transmission. Not a threat. Not a celebration. A message. Open all public channels, she ordered. The signal spread fast. Faster than news networks. Faster than rumor. Every major civilization received it. The captain stood before a simple background. No flags. No symbols. Just the image of Earth behind her. People of the galaxy, she began calmly. Today you witnessed conflict in the Sol system. She paused. The Xerex Empire demanded surrender. We refused. Across distant systems, leaders listened carefully. For 40 years, we built the HSS Resolute in secret. Not to conquer. Not to expand. But to protect. Images of the battle played beside her words. Xerex ships firing. Human fighters launching. The Imperial Wrath losing power. We understand fear, she continued. We understand survival. Humanity has faced extinction before. That is why we prepare. Her tone did not rise. It did not carry anger. We do not seek territory. We do not demand tribute. But we will never kneel. In the ruins of a damaged Xerex outpost, survivors watched the broadcast in silence. The captain's final words carried across every star system. If you come in peace, you will find friends. If you come with chains, you will find resistance. The transmission ended. No dramatic music. No celebration. Just silence. In the days that followed, something unexpected happened. Several smaller systems formally cut ties with the Xerex Empire. Without fear holding them together, cracks began to show. Old rivalries returned. Trade routes shifted. The Empire did not collapse overnight. But it had been wounded. And everyone knew it. Back in the Sol system, the Resolute slowly turned away from Earth. Its repairs were incomplete, but it no longer needed to remain in open orbit. Its mission had changed. It moved outward, beyond Mars. Beyond Jupiter. Past the asteroid belt. Returning to the deep shadows beyond Neptune. Hidden once more. On its bridge, the captain stood quietly as the stars stretched ahead. One officer spoke softly. Do you think they will test us again? The captain looked at the distant glow of Earth. Yes, she said. One day. Are we ready? She watched as the engines shifted to low-power stealth mode. We were ready before they arrived. Far across the galaxy, one lesson had been written into history. Earth was not a minor species. Humanity did not shout its strength. It built it quietly. And when the moment came, it answered.